Yes, there will be baseball. After a 99-day lockout, we now have a complete 162-game schedule starting with opening day on April 7th. To celebrate the return of baseball, we want to do a wow promotion, so here we go. The first 50 customers will get the full season of MLB, including the playoffs, for just over $3 per day. How much of a wow is this? MLB through the All-Star break is priced at $7.95 and through the World Series is priced at $1,095. But the first 50 customers can get MLB through the World Series for $6.99. No coupon is needed, and this comes out to just over $3 per day. Once we hit 50 redemptions, the super early bird discount will come down and the lowest possible price to lock in baseball will no longer be available. So act fast before you get shut out on our biggest price drop ever.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. It is the Sweet 16, and we got ourselves a sweet show today. Dave Cokin joining us right off the bat. He's going to look at the Kansas game, Purdue versus St. Pete. We got Andrew Mcinnis. He's going to take a look at some UFC and NHL. And Ralph Michaels coming on. Arizona-Houston game, Phoenix-Denver game. Steve Merrill with us. He's got his big game breakdown, my daily presidential address. Whew. I don't think I breathed there. Breathed, who knows. I finished F1 Season 4 last night, Steve Merrill. How are you, brother?
Good, and I find it ironic that someone that doesn't follow auto racing, whereas I do, of course, I've yet to watch a single episode of that, and you've watched 4 seasons, but of course, I'm more of a NASCAR guy. I hear it's very good, though. I do need to check it out.
It's I'm obsessed. It's incredible. It is so well packaged. The narrative, it's so well done. And man, like, dude, I watched the F1 race on Sunday, the first race of this new season. So, listen, I fast forwarded a lot of it. I mean, it's hard. Like, I couldn't imagine watching NASCAR where they just drive left for days on end. And look, there's been some rule changes in F1, which has really created a more exciting race. The drag, this, that, and the I don't know the specific lingo, but the ability to pass is greater last year and this year than it was in the past in F1. Anyway, nobody wants to hear us talk about F1. What did you learn last night in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Yeah, I'll just quickly say the reason I've never been into open wheel is because there's no passing. Like the top 2 or 3 guys dominate the race. So that's good to hear. It might get me watching some of it. And by the way, NASCAR is at COTA, Circuit of the Americas, a road course in Austin, Texas this week, and they'll have their first road course. So you might want to check that out, Prez. It's a little bit more like Formula One. Andy Lang, of course, does a great job with his weekly NASCAR video here on WagerTalk TV. So be sure to check out Andy's take on that. I definitely will be. Just a couple things. We have a lot of college basketball here being Thursday. It's always a light NBA card. It's Sweet 16, as you mentioned. So we're going to look at a ton of college, but just wanted to briefly look at the NBA last night. You know, I gave a big game breakdown here on the Sixers -7, and I said, as I did it at noon, 12:30 Eastern, I said LeBron was questionable. You know, you thought he would have played in the ESPN big spotlight game against the Sixers, and a couple hours later, it's announced he's out. The line goes from 7 to 9.5, and I like the Sixers a lot less at that point because we've seen this play out now for a year and a half in the NBA. When a key player is out, the other team gets a couple more baskets, and they still cover, and the Lakers lost by only 5. A textbook example of that last night was a game we talked about on the NBA tip-off show here at 4:30 Eastern with Joe Ranieri and the 2 Tonys, and it was Golden State was a contrarian play, and it was tough for any of us to make a case for the Warriors as they were without Stephon Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. The line closed as high as +10, and Golden State wins outright by 14 at Miami. So we just considered to see this angle work. And if you've blindly played this, I mean, I haven't added it up, but it's got to be 65, 70% since last year, just blindly playing the ugly duckling with the extra points. And it works for a couple reasons. First of all, you're getting inflated line value with a bunch of college all-stars still, and these guys are hungry and motivated. And, of course, handicapping the NBA in March is all about motivation. You know, so whenever you got guys that are trying to make a team get more roster time, they bring their A game. And I think the other fact is that the big favorite just overlooks them sometimes. You know, we saw Miami lose outright as an 8-point favorite against Philly the other night without Harden. I mentioned that in the big game breakout. And now Philly goes in and wins but fails to cover in the reverse role. And Miami, once again, 2 games in a row, Miami has faced a shorthanded star team, a team without one of their stars, and Miami's lost both of them outright as 8 and 10-point favorites. So just something to keep an eye on in the NBA. Prez, little NBA talk before we get to a lot of college hoops talk today on Thursday.
Steve, speaking of NBA, Andrew, one of our listeners, asks, have I watched Winning Time on HBO yet?
Oh, man, I was going to tell you about that. I watched it last night.
But it's not all the episodes are out.
Correct. So
I don't,
so funny
I don't watch
about
any show.
Well, I'm the same way usually. And we were talking about the Formula One. I was actually going to lead in with Winning Time. I was going to give you another good show to watch. So I watched the debut a few Sundays ago when it came out, okay? And I recorded each week on the DVR because it's on HBO. And I didn't watch last week's because of all the college hoops, obviously Selection Sunday. And I didn't watch this past Sunday either with the round of 32 going on. So I watched the second episode last night, and I've still got last week's to watch. And it is freaking fantastic, Prez. So, yeah, I've been meaning to tell you about that. It's so funny that he mentioned it because that was actually on my radar. Really, really much better than I was expecting. Only reason I watched it, to be honest, is because I was watching the Royal Gemstones, and that finished up on that Sunday night. And I also like George C. Riley. Will Ferrell's right-hand man is Jerry Buss. So I had to check him out. But it's actually really good. And the guys that play Magic and Kareem look spot on, just like them. Jerry West has been in these first couple episodes. Pat Riley's about to appear, I think. It's really, really good. So that's another good sports show to watch.
And I'm going to watch the entire thing, but I never, ever, ever watch a show until all episodes are available, because who wants to go through that shit, man? Like, if I'm into a show, I want to watch the damn show. Give me the freaking show.
You're a binge type of guy.
Yeah, exactly. But I start season 5 of The Last Kingdom tonight, which I'm excited about. Dave Cokin, I know you don't care about any of the stuff we're talking about right now. You want to get straight into it. How are you, my friend?
I'm okay. And I never binge watch. So I've been watching The Winning Time. It's pretty good.
Nice.
But I just want
I think it's real good.
One episode a week is fine.
Yeah, I can't do it, man. Imagine if Who Killed JR or any of those like epic, iconic cliffhangers, all the episodes are right there for you. So, I mean, look, there's advantages. You want to drive yourself nuts, I guess. You can watch them 1 week at a time. Dave, let's get straight into it, man. Kansas. You want to talk about this game? I'll just hand it over to you. Providence, Kansas, -7.5, 141.5. How do we bet this one?
Well, look, the analytics are clear. I mean, Kansas is supposed to beat Providence by a pretty good margin. The problem is the Friars have been the metrics buster all year long. And I don't know why that's going to necessarily change. You look at the game, and it logically, Kansas should win and win by a margin. They're basically better at almost every position. But you're not going to get me betting against Providence at this point. I made the mistake once in this tournament, got slaughtered, and I'm not going to do it again. When the Friars get knocked out, fine. If they get knocked out, I would bet Providence at this point. If it's not broken, don't fix it. The Friars just keep on playing above their expectations. They don't know. They don't care about the metrics. They just know that they go out there and they win. And they seem to bring out the worst in almost every opponent they play. I mean, you got Richmond, comes in red hot last week, and they could not hit anything. And they had open looks and just could not make a shot. That's just the way it's going for the Friars. So just on instincts, I would take Providence plus the points.
Yeah, Dave, we've had a lot of fun, obviously, talking about the luck index, and I think we all kind of agree that, it's not really a handicapping tool, but it's something that's interesting to point out. And, of course, Providence has been technically the luckiest team all season, but as you've said many times accurately, teams find ways to win close games, and Teddy's talked about it in this seat as well. So I don't think it's necessarily luck that they're playing this well this season. And, by the way, NC Wilmington, the third luckiest team all season, just won the CBI tournament last night in double overtime. So the luck did not run out for the Seahawks, and the Friars have not run out of luck yet either. Want to talk to you about the pace in this game. Obviously, Kansas is a team that likes to get up and down at court. They've done it in both games so far. Providence is one of the slower half-court teams. Obviously, if they could dictate that tempo, I think they have a shot also as a live dog. How do you think that correlates to the total? I would think, Providence to the under, Kansas to the over. Some are correlated. Any thoughts on the over-under in this game?
No, I never have thoughts on over and unders in anything except baseball.
Yeah. And we know that. Steve, you don't do this show with me and Teddy. I mean, you're not on every day, but you asked Dave about a total, and you're going to get a one-word answer. Nope. I love totals, man. Steve, do you think, what are you, 50-50? Are you more totals than sides?
Oh, no, I'll tell you, in basketball, I'm much, much more sides. I think I've only had a few NCAA totals all season. First, on the regular season, it's almost not worth the time, and this might be Dave's thoughts, too. I'll get your thoughts on it, Dave. I mean, the NCAA totals move so much in the regular season. They jump around, 5, 6, 7 points sometimes. It's very difficult to release those to clients. But NCAA tournament, I had one last week. I've got another one going tonight, actually. So I do like them in the tournament, but regular season, I think it's kind of tricky. And then, Dave, of course, when you and I started decades ago, you couldn't even get totals on NCAA games.
Yeah, my thoughts are really simple. I've never been able to win at totals, so I stopped handicapping them like 25 years ago. I just don't have a feel for them. This is just the way I do things. It's the reason I don't do the NBA. From a financial standpoint, I should be doing it because I'm fairly high profile, and I get a lot of sales for anything I put out, basically.
To say the least.
But I'm not going to bet the games myself, so therefore I'm not going to sell them either. That's just kind of the way it works with me. I give out what I sell. I don't bet totals except in baseball. Baseball I do. In fact, I'll play a lot of, probably, there might be more totals in baseball than sides. But the other sports I don't do well with the totals. I never have. And so the hell with them.
Speaking of baseball, guys, Dave's got a 5% win prop coming soon. It should be up, today, tomorrow?
Next few days.
Dave, sorry, Dave?
Next few days it'll be up.
Nice.
I want to put them all out at once.
Yeah, you had two NHL ones, the Ranger under, Golden Knights under, both already.
No, the Rangers was baseball last year.
Oh.
The Rangers under, and then the NHL isn't going to win.
No, that I was confused by that. And I love the Rangers in NHL. Speaking of NHL, Dave, what's up with the Vegas Golden Knights? Is this team going to turn their season around?
They're now minus 280 to miss the playoffs.
Wow.
They've lost. It's like 360 man games to injuries this year. I mean, every team has injuries, but they have just been besieged by injuries and to key guys. And I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. A huge game tonight against Nashville here at the Fortress. They've got basically, there's still 16, 17 games left in the season, but they've got to win this game, I think.
Yeah, and I like them tonight, Dave. Let's turn our attention to St. Peter's, the darling of March Madness right now. Plus 12.5. They're playing Purdue, who can certainly score, that's for sure. 133, 134 is the total. We'll ignore that. Does St. Peter's have another W in there for him?
No, I don't. I think St. Peter's might get smashed here. The Friday-Sunday turnaround, or Thursday-Saturday turnaround last week was actually not a bad thing. They didn't really have time to process everything that took place in the first round upset. And it's like, let's get out there and have some fun. I think all this time off now, the pressure could start to mount to show that they're not a fluke. And they are a fluke, okay? They're not that good. Purdue really had not been playing at a high level coming into the tournament. But I think they're off their best game in, 6 or 8 weeks? They played well against Texas, I should say. I know people look at it as, they got all the foul calls. I didn't see where the game was poorly officiated. I had Texas in the game, and I lost it. And I deserve to lose it. I mean, Purdue was the considerably better team in that game. Physically, it's a mismatch. Purdue should be able to do whatever they want in the paint in this game. I think they might find the Peacocks a little pesky for a while, but I think this one has a good chance to get out of hand. I would not be surprised to see Purdue win by 20. I like Purdue minus the points.
Yeah, of all the 15 seeds, including last year and a couple years ago, all the way back to the 80s, the 6 that have ever made it past into the Sweet 16, none have ever won in this round. So the party normally ends. Everyone likes these Cinderella stories, but they very rarely get any further than this round. Dave, just big picture, I want to ask you, Big Ten had 9 teams get in. There's only 2 remaining, Michigan and Purdue out of those 9. Obviously, they haven't won a national title since 2000. SEC, I believe, has only 1 team remaining. That's Arkansas, which wasn't necessarily the team we thought would be remaining, with Tennessee, Auburn out. Kentucky obviously got bounced by St. Peter's. Meanwhile, ACC, 3 teams remaining, Miami, UNC, Duke. Your thoughts overall on the conferences so far? I know it's a small sample. Sometimes you got to be careful not to overreact, but is any conference overachieved, underachieved, in your opinion, coming in?
I don't know. It's tough to say because this happens every year. I mean, last year, the buzz going into the tournament was, boy, the Pac-12 sucks. And then you get to the Sweet Eight, the Elite Eight, and there's Pac-12 teams all over the place. So, anything can happen in a short stretch, and often does. I think if this were being played out over a full season, it would play more according to form. But in one-game scenarios, it doesn't. And that's the beauty of the NCAA tournament, is you don't know what's going to happen. It's not a cut and dried thing where ones are going to make it to the Final Four. We're seeing that ones are not. And, who knows? There may not be any left standing after this weekend. It's entirely possible. So, no, I just try and look at each game individually. And quite frankly, I haven't looked at it very well in this tournament. So what I do over the next couple of days is going to be really small. I'm playing 2 NCAA tournament games today and tomorrow, and they're both 2% plays. I'm not even going to sell them individually. I think they're good plays, but I'm not exactly killing it in college basketball right now, so I'm keeping the plays small.
Nice. Dave Cokin, everybody. Dave, always a pleasure to have you on our show. Thanks so much for joining us, brother. Anything to promote? I mean, you spoke about it, but anything else?
Yeah, I mean, the baseball season. My record kind of speaks for itself in Major League Baseball, and can't wait for the things to get started. What is it, April 7th or April 8th? I forget which. We're almost there. Watching spring training games, getting a feel for the teams. I do have some definite opinions on teams that might be under or overrated going into the season, so I'll have my win props up, including a probable 5%. They should be up in the next few days. No better time than the present to buy the season package.
Yeah. Dave, listen, I mean, we are so excited in Toronto about the baseball season. Are you kidding me? We've got our starting 5, Boreas, Kikuchi, Gausman, Manoa, Ryu, and then there's still 2 behind them that could start on any team in the league. Our batting lineup is ridiculous, but it is baseball, so who knows? But yeah, I mean, Toronto is just pumped.
The Blue Jays are solid contenders. I don't think there's much question about that. That division, boy, oh boy. The Yankees are obviously going to be good. The Red Sox should be fine. Tampa's always in the hunt. Got to feel bad for the Orioles. I mean, they got no shot.
Yeah, the Orioles might win 10 games.
Yeah, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for any single athlete that gets paid to do what I would do for free. Dave Cokin, everybody.
Hold on. You would not do it for free. That's bullshit, and you know it.
I play hockey every Tuesday night. You're right, Dave. You're right. I wouldn't do it for free. I would pay to do it because I do pay to do it. I literally pay to play hockey twice a week.
You know, I hate to say this, but you're not exactly at the NHL level.
Just slightly under. Slightly under.
To be at the NHL level or Major League Baseball level or NBA or whatever, you've got to put your heart and soul into it on a daily basis, and you want to get paid. So.
Okay. Dave Cokin, everyone. Guys, we'll be right back with Andrew Mcinnis, Ralph Michaels, Steve Merrill's big game breakdown of my daily presidential address. Stay with us. Give us 15 seconds.
Yes, there will be baseball. After a 99-day lockout, we now have a complete 162-game schedule starting with opening day on April 7th. To celebrate the return of baseball, we want to do a wow promotion, so here we go. The first 50 customers will get the full season of MLB, including the playoffs, for just over $3 per day. How much of a wow is this? MLB through the All-Star break is priced at $7.95, and through the World Series is priced at $1,095. But the first 50 customers can get MLB through the World Series for $6.99. No coupon is needed, and this comes out to just over $3 per day. Once we hit 50 redemptions, the super early bird discount will come down, and the lowest possible price to lock in baseball will no longer be available. So act fast before you get shut out on our biggest price drop ever.
It's time for a little big game breakdown here on Wager Talk Today for Thursday night, March the 24th, and we're going to look at the NCAA Tournament tonight on Thursday. I've got 3 strong best bets going in the Sweet 16 for Thursday night. I got 3 games covered for my clients. This is the 4th game that just missed the cut, and with baseball approaching, as many of you know, just a bit outside, and that's the Houston Cougars plus the 1.5, but it's still a game I think has some value. Look, the reason I left this off my official best bet card is because Arizona is one of the best teams in the country. In fact, Houston and Arizona, I think the winner of this game very well could win the whole thing. I've got Gonzaga as the only team rated higher. But it's a tough matchup for both these squads, and I do think it goes down to the wire. But if Houston could dictate the tempo, which I think they will, they're going to win this game, and we do get some value with them as a 1.5-point underdog tonight on Thursday. In fact, my power ratings make Houston a 1-point favorite in this game, despite being the 5 seed over a 1 seed Arizona. And on the surface, that might seem crazy, but then you look at some of these other respected power ratings out there. KenPom now has Houston as the number 2 team in the entire country, behind Gonzaga, ahead of Arizona. So my power ratings are kind of in line with that. When the tournament began a couple weeks ago, I've mentioned several times here on this show, on college basketball show here on Wager Talk TV and elsewhere, that Houston was the most underseeded team in the tournament, a Final Four team from last year that was top 4 in the KenPoms. They were 5th in the Sagrigan, but they were 3rd in the Sagrigan power rating, which is the closest point spread predictor. So when the tournament began, this was a number 1 seed in 2 of those national power rankings, yet they came in as a 5 seed. Just ridiculous. So this is a very dangerous Houston team. So let's look at the matchup. And the reason I do think Houston's going to win this game is because they play extremely slow half-court basketball. 358 Division I teams this year. They play at the 334th slowest pace. Meanwhile, Arizona plays at the 5th fastest pace in the entire country. So these are 2 extreme opposite styles. Arizona, it's much easier to slow down a fast-paced team than it is to speed up a slow team. Houston also playing this game in Fort Worth, so they've got the home state advantage. That's been a long-term winning play for decades, ATS in the NCAA tournament. And they're the better overall defensive team. Both teams offensively are top 10. Both are defensively pretty good, but Houston is better. Slow down half-court style, and we get some line value. So although this game missed the cut, I still think there is a little bit of value as a 1 to 2% play on the Houston Cougars tonight, plus the 1.5. That's the late game at 9:59 Eastern on Thursday. Don't forget, I do have strong 4% best bets in the other 3 games tonight. I also have my first 5% best bet locked and loaded for the NCAA tournament. So there's a ton of value in the NCAAs, and nobody has won more money the past 2 years in college hoops since I joined WagerTalk.com. Check it out right now. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Nicely done, Steve. Well, it's the promotion segment, if you will. I just want to remind everybody, I have a 5% play up tonight in college basketball. I'm perfect in my 5% plays in college basketball this year. And I did get a promo code for everybody, CBB college basketball, CBB 10 $10 off of my college basketball 5% play. Let's bring Andrew Mcinnis in. Andrew, my brother, welcome to Wager Talk Today. It was great hanging out with you in Vegas. You back home?
Back home, yeah, probably a good thing back home, but bittersweet, that's for sure. But yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody for coming out. It was so nice to meet a lot of our customers and viewers and all the coworkers as well. You know, the world we live in, the remote world we live in. Me living in the middle of nowhere, like you say, Prez, I don't really get to meet all of you guys, so it was great to meet a lot of the Wager Talk crew as well.
Yeah, It's not that I say you live in the middle of nowhere, Andrew. It is that you live in the middle of nowhere. And I
The map says it.
understand.
The globe
Yeah,
says it.
like I understand that you might not think you live in the middle of nowhere, and that's reasonable. It's fair, but you do. Anyway, right off the bat, guys, I just got to tell you, Andrew McInnis is on a 9-1 college basketball run. 9 wins, 1 loss. 66% in NHL in March. And if you think that's good, add his January and his February to that, and his December. I mean, over 100% return on investment in hockey this entire season. Absolutely unbelievable numbers. 21-8 UFC best bet run. Andrew, you are just seeing it really well right now across the board.
It's been a great 2022 so far. Obviously, only a couple months in, Prez, but we always say, just in life in general, but especially in our business, you can't stop learning. And I think I've definitely learned a lot over the last 6 to 8 months in the handicapping business, and just about picking games and how I've approached things. And it's really helped me a lot across all different sports. I've lowered my volume for the most part, and something that's really helped me. I think I was kind of spraying the board a little bit too much, and it's helped me have the ability to focus in on more sports like college basketball, like the UFC, and trying to find my 1 or 2 spots I like the most in each sport and just move on. And it's really what's helped me a lot this year.
Awesome stuff. Let's get into the UFC. Blades Daukaus. I probably messed up that name. I don't know the lines. I did not do any research on this fight at all. I'm just going to hand it over to you.
So this is an interesting one because obviously both these two fighters are trying to put themselves in a prime spot as contenders here to fight in the big fight. And it's a big number here. We have minus 360 for Curtis Blades enters this one against Daukaus. And I'm on the over 1.5, guys, over 1.5 rounds. When you look at the heavyweight division, a lot of times you expect knockouts. People tune into the heavyweight division. You expect to see someone just get their head punched off, and that's why you see these numbers at 1.5, whereas for other divisions, you see 2.5, 3.5, even 4.5 here. As far as Blades go, his last 2 victories have come actually via decision, which, like I said, is pretty rare in the heavyweight division. As for Daukaus, his last loss, he did come in here off a loss to Derek Lewis where he did get knocked out, but that is Derek Lewis. He's a guy that anybody fights against that guy, you're getting into a brawl and somebody's getting knocked out, as he found out against Tai Tuivasa. So when I look at this one, I expect grappling to be a huge thing. I expect Curtis Blades to see more grappling with Daukaus than he has seen in his last couple fights here. And, I do like Blades, but the price is so big here, Prez, with minus 360, and I don't want to find a method of victory. So I decided to look at the rounds. I believe that Blades is going to get on the ground a lot. They're going to grapple. And I think that Daukaus is going to be able to hang around, but it's going to be mainly because he's going to be very conservative. And that's what we've seen from him over his last several fights against top tier opponents. So I don't expect him to really have a good performance, but I expect him to hang around and be very conservative and very safe, which should get us over this 1.5 rounds here in this heavyweight bout. So I'm going to go over 1.5. It's minus 190. But it's a hell of a lot better than the minus 360 you have to pay to bet on Blades. So give me the over 1.5 rounds here in this heavyweight competition.
He's Andrew McInnis, WagerTalk.com. And just a quick reminder to hit the like button, especially if you like the WagerTalk meet and greet, because Puck Time, NHL is what made that happen, folks. That started off as a Puck Time meet and greet, and it got a little bit bigger after that. So hit the like button for that reason alone. Also, if you want to see a presidential address, hit that like button. Got to get to 100. That's the law. We can't get to it otherwise. And then, look, we've had 3 college basketball plays already. We've had a UFC. But, Andrew, I want an NHL from you as you do crush the NHL, as Prez said. Let's look at a West Coast game here. Give me something in San Jose and Edmonton. Edmonton had won 5 straight. Back-to-back losses now on the road. They return home for 1 home game, and then they're road again. It's kind of a weird scheduling spot. Does this get them back on track, or are they maybe starting to become a play-against team here?
I believe they do get back on track here, Steve, and I haven't been a huge puck line player during this season, but I think today is a good opportunity to jump in and take a look at the Edmonton Oilers on the puck line. And one of the things I look at sometimes in these opportunities, when you kind of have a team that's competing to hopefully make the playoffs, or at least, be on the outside looking in against a bottom tier opponent like San Jose, I kind of like the fact that San Jose is off 2 wins. And some people might ask me, why do you like the fact that San Jose has just won 2 games and they just beat Calgary? Shouldn't that be a bad thing if you're betting on the Oilers? But to me, I really believe in that last 4 or 5 game sample size. And kind of what Marco says, feeling too good about yourselves. People have kind of gotten a kick out of me using the fat and sassy expression like he says, but it's true. And I think San Jose getting those 2 wins, upsetting Calgary. Of course, they beat Arizona, but that's not really too big of a deal. But they should be feeling good about themselves. Meanwhile, with the Oilers, back-to-back losses for them where they didn't really have much depth. There wasn't too much scoring on their team. They allowed 5 goals in their last one. I believe they bounce back here and they get kind of caught in a great scheduling spot for them and a tough scheduling spot for the San Jose Sharks here. And the Oilers, Steve, have a great record against, below 500 teams, against subpar hockey teams. They're a team you can count on to get the job done against weak opponents. They don't really have those flat spots in these games. They have flat spots and duds in games they should win against, upper tier opponents. I can count on them tonight to take care of the San Jose Sharks in a good scheduling standpoint for them. These games matter. They're at home. It's the Alberta double, as we call it, for the San Jose Sharks. They played Calgary. Now they play Edmonton, and I think this time around, Alberta team will get it done. So give me the Oilers -1.5.
Andrew, you and I are on the total same page on this game. And I also like over the total of 6 guys. I like over in the first period as well. I think we're going to get a big scoring game. I am so with you on that pick. Outstanding stuff.
Wait.
Anything really quick to promote?
Just 4% play tonight in college and big, massive UFC 5-pick card for the weekend. The 4% best bet and then a couple 1% plays, which I mentioned at the top, kind of rare for me with lots of action, but really like this card this weekend, guys.
Andrew Mcinnis, everyone. Steve, one of our listeners paid $3 last night to watch Two for the Money with Al Pacino. That movie was god awful.
Yeah,
I mean,
God, they should have paid him $3.
Like,
you'd have to pay me more than
Al
$3.
Pacino should have sent you money. That was one of the worst. There was no drama, no intrigue. That movie was as bad a movie as I've ever seen in my life. That was
Prez,
my opinion on that movie.
Prez, how many people, when they find out what you do for a living, reference that movie? How many times does that happen?
All the time, dude.
Exactly, same here.
Yeah.
So that's another reason I hate that movie, because it's not a good depiction of what we do for a living, obviously,
to say the least. But put that aside. Forget the fact that we're in the same zone as that movie. The actual movie was a piece of shit. Anyway, guys, please hit that like.
Two good actors too. What a waste. Pacino.
And Rene Russo looked god awful in that movie as well, but whatever. Hit that like button, everybody. Ralph Michaels! How are you, my friend? What's going on, bro?
The pin.
Guys, how are you? I was following Andrew today, and since Puck Time started that meet and greet last week, I wanted to bring a little NHL TNA to the card today. So we're shaking it up a little bit.
Nice.
Ralph, Steve and I will just kick back and listen to you, man. Regale us.
Well, Prez, since you're the hockey guy, let me just say this. We talk about situations, how teams do as a favorite off a loss in the NFL. We've talked about how teams do as a favored as a loss in college football and NBA. So today I wanted to break down how teams in the NHL do off a loss as a favorite. Are there bounce back situations or are they overpriced? So if we could see chart number 1, Dan, and you'll see on the left are the categories. Since 2000, I went back a couple years. If you played every NHL team off a loss as a favorite, you've hit 56%. But with an average line of -125, you've basically broke even. You're plus 0.3 units. So, do you play NFL teams off a loss as a favorite? No, it's not been a positive, but it's not been a negative. But I wanted to go a little further and tell me if any of these shock you, Prez. The second category is off a loss as a home favorite. That is actually a losing proposition. You are down 17 units if you play teams off a loss as a home favorite. Then I looked at teams in the third and fourth categories off a loss as a favorite of 200 or more and off a loss as a favorite of 200 or more. as a home favorite. Both of those negative situations. The bottom two charts show off a shutout loss as a favorite and off a shutout loss as a home favorite. Probably the one thing that surprises me most is the very bottom. If you play an NHL team off a loss as a home favorite and they were shut out, they're only 24-24 as a favorite. They're actually a losing proposition. So while this chart's not a wow number, it's just to enlighten you a little bit. Don't fall into the trap automatically thinking that an NHL team off a loss as a favorite has been a positive, even when they've been a favorite of 200 or more. Those have been a negative situation playing them in the next game.
You know, Ralph, I absolutely love what you were just talking about. And I think that most people would assume the opposite of what you just spoke about, especially the minus 200. You know, you have a team like Pittsburgh or Toronto or Florida. They go and they lose a game, and then the next game, you would expect them to win. So many of these teams at the very top of the league really avoid those 2, 3, 4 game losing streaks. But clearly that is not the case. That is a really, really great chart.
Now, Prez, let me just point out, when you're off a loss as a home favorite of 200 or more, teams have won 66% the next game. The issue is you're laying an average price of 255. So why people may think, oh, that team won off a shutout loss, it's not a bettable. It's actually minus 14 units. So again, while we're saying the teams aren't going to win, we're saying you don't want to bet those teams as a big favorite. And Prez, I'm going to throw this to you. Go ahead, bud.
No, I was thinking to myself, what if you bet the puck line? I mean, look, last night for me, I lost a hockey play. I have not lost a hockey play in a while. I took the Leafs minus 1.5 coming off of a loss at home. Huge favorite. They had 2 shots at that empty net to get it there for me, but they didn't. I would be curious to know where, if you can bet, because you've already mentioned they've won 66% of the time. How many of those 66% of the times did they cover that puck line? That's what jumped into my head.
Next Tuesday, I'll be on with you next Tuesday. I will bring the puck line information off a loss, and we'll compare the 2 charts.
I hope, Ralph, that I will not be on next Tuesday. My plan is to have a negative COVID test tomorrow and go on my ski trip. Anyway, brother.
Let's break down the teams, Prez. Now, tell me if anyone jumps out at you. Take a look at this quick list. This is this year only. Teams off a loss as a favorite. So, you know, what jumps out? Take a look at the right-hand side. The greens are actually profitable. The blacks are 1 game above or below. The reds are negatives. Look at the teams that have lost over 10 times as a favorite. The Capitals, when they lose, they've lost 15 times as a favorite this year, but they've gone 11-4 the next game. The Knights are right in the middle. They've lost 13 times as a favorite. They've gone 7-6. And at the very bottom, the Penguins have lost 12 times as a favorite. They've only gone 5-7 the next game. But top of the chart, Prez, the Wild, the Bruins, and the Jets, all over 77% off a loss this year. Do any of those 3 jump out at you?
No, Ralph. Firstly, my eyes are way too bad to read that chart, so I can't read that chart. I can't. All I see is green, black, and red. I'll wear my.
The secret is go into Slack where I posted it, click on it, and then you can look at it as large as you want.
But listen. Go.
He's on Twitter, guys. I will post both charts on Twitter right after the show, so you could take a look at the numbers yourself and take whatever you want out of the mix.
Yeah, I love it, Ralph. Outstanding stuff, dude. Let's get into some basketball as we're up against it. Phoenix playing Denver tonight. Man, this could be the Western Conference Finals. What? The West is unbelievable. You like the total in this game. Should we go up or down?
Well, it's a high total, 231.5 or 232. But let me point out, this year in the NBA, NBA totals of 229 or higher have gone 48 0.8%. So a slight lean to the under, but basically a 50-50 prop. I look at this Phoenix offense, and they are absolutely rolling. There's not a hotter team on offense in the NBA. Their last 6 games, they've shot 54%. They've averaged 130 points per game, and they have scored at least 125 points each of their last 6 games. They've gone 6-1 to the over their last 7. And don't worry about laying a total of 230 or more with the Phoenix Suns. They are 11-2 over-under in that category. Denver's offense, almost as hot. 49.8% the last 5. And the Nuggets defense slumping. They're allowing 48.1%. Nuggets have gone over 4 straight. Phoenix and Denver over the total in NBA action this evening.
Yeah, Ralph, this was the overtime segment of the NBA tip-off show yesterday, and it did get there barely by about a basket against Minnesota, and that's now 6 overs the last 7 for Phoenix, and Denver's gone over 4 their last 5. So tune in at 4:30 Eastern, folks, to see if this is the overtime segment for today's show as well in the NBA. Also tune in 1 hour, 1:45 Eastern. Ralph, Dave Cokin, and myself with Joe Ranieri will be on the college basketball show, and we talked about this game the other day, I believe, on Tuesday when we were all on, Ralph, and that's Houston and Arizona. As you saw from my big game breakdown, I leaned Houston. It's the one game that missed the cut tonight. I got 3 strong best bets on the other games, but I do think Houston could slow them down. I think you lean a little bit more Arizona as we were talking about it. Give me your thoughts on that, though, but also I want to look at the total. I couldn't get a total out of Dave Cokin, so I want to get a total out of you. I think the side and total are somewhat codependent here, so if you lean Arizona, wouldn't that be a little bit over Houston under? How are you looking at the side and total on this one?
Well, not necessarily, Steve. And, if you watch the college basketball show, I gave out a slight lean on Arizona. But as I broke down the game more, I actually like the under more. And you, in your big game breakdown, talked about Houston's pace, 334 out of 358 teams. The thing about Arizona is this. You got to remember, there's 2 numbers that go into tempo. How fast you shoot the ball and how fast your opponents shoot the ball against you. While Arizona is number 5 in Ken Palm's ratings, their defense picks up people 3/4 to half court, and teams are actually 254 in tempo bringing up the ball. Their number's so high because they shoot so fast on offense. So yes, I think Houston will slow them down. And you look at this Arizona team, very, very sloppy their first 2 games. 19 turnovers in the opening game against Wright State, 16 turnovers against TCU. This Houston team, number 35 in the country in offensive turnovers. Arizona doesn't turn the ball over on offense. Put that together. Offensive rebounding goes to Houston, a big offensive rebounding edge. Arizona still sloppy turning the ball over, but they do play solid defense when they have the roll. The more I broke the game down, I do like this game under tonight.
Ralph Michaels, everyone. Ralph, anything to promote real quick?
12-2 run, 20-6 run the last 26 plays. 1 play today, 5-0 the last 3 days. So number 1 in March college basketball last year, number 1 in college basketball the last 30 days, number 1 in college basketball in March the last 2 years. So plenty of college hoops action left. 1 play up for tonight.
Outstanding stuff, Ralph Michaels. Thanks so much for joining us. Steve Merrill, we got over 100 likes. I didn't think we were going to get there, man. It got close.
So
yeah. Well, hey,
I thought the country was going to crumble.
Nothing worse than preparing a daily presidential address and not actually being able to do it. Dan, cue it up, baby. All right. Guys, I got 3 NHL plays for you today. All of them I am betting. I have 1 NHL play for my clients tonight. Remember, I'm on a 17-5 run in the NHL. Also, if you want my 5% play in college basketball tonight, please use the promo code CBB10. That is CBB10. You get $10 off of my college basketball 5% play, and I have not lost a college basketball 5% play yet this year. Okay. 3 games I'm betting tonight. Winnipeg minus 1.5. Guys, I think Winnipeg is a play on team moving forward. I think, look, they were having real dressing room issues over the last little while. I think they've turned it around. They're playing really good hockey right now. Their goaltender, Bucky, as they call him, is playing outstanding. They just come up a 4-0 win against Vegas. They cannot afford to lose many games because they are on the outside looking in. I think they get it done tonight, and I think they get it done big time. Next, I like the New York Islanders in regulation tonight. I think we're going to see the New York Islanders end the season on a high note. Obviously, they're not going to make the playoffs. They started very poorly. They are playing Detroit tonight, and I think they do get it done. And last but not least, Vegas has to win this game tonight. They are playing Nashville. If Vegas loses this game tonight, they're a play against for the rest of the year. I'm going to take Vegas minus 105 on the money line tonight. So, to recap, Winnipeg minus 1.5 tonight, New York Islanders in regulation, and Vegas minus 1.5. Minus 105 on the money line. That's it for me, Steve Merrill. Take us home, brother.
Man, folks, we got to hit those like buttons sooner. I've never got so nervous. I had to find an American flag to fan myself off because I thought we weren't going to have the presidential address. I got a Formula One flag for you, Prez, since you're a fan. Seriously, though, hit that subscribe button also. Let's get to 100,000 subscribers. Let's keep this content free on a daily basis here on WagerTalk TV. Don't forget college basketball show in 1 hour, 1:45 Eastern. NBA tip-off show at 4:15 Eastern. Enjoy the games tonight. Ralph, myself, and Dave Cokin will all be back on that college show. Thanks to Andrew McGinnis as well. Thanks to Dan back in the studio. We'll be back tomorrow on Friday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for more Wager Talk Today right here live on Wager Talk TV. Enjoy the games tonight, and good luck.
Yes, there will be baseball. After a 99-day lockout, we now have a complete 162-game schedule starting with opening day on April 7th. To celebrate the return of baseball, we want to do a wow promotion, so here we go. The first 50 customers will get the full season of MLB, including the playoffs, for just over $3 per day. How much of a wow is this? MLB through the All-Star break is priced at $7.95, and through the World Series is priced at $1,095. But the first 50 customers can get MLB through the World Series for $6.99. No coupon is needed, and this comes out to just over $3 per day. Once we hit 50 redemptions, the super early bird discount will come down, and the lowest possible price to lock in baseball will no longer be available. So act fast before you get shut out on our biggest price drop ever.